La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. We'll jump up and down and back around. Said old St. Nick is bringing it back to town. The stockings are hung by the fire with cheer. We're dancing crazy cause the feeling is here. Sing la 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Happy holidays. Happy holidays. New Year's is on its way. New Year's is on its way. Meet me under the mistletoe. When the clock strikes 12, then you'll know. La 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 la. Don't hesitate, let's celebrate. We'll be rocking and a laugh until it's way past late. Singing la 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 la. La 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 la. So bounce around, sing aloud. Moving in a groove into that holiday sound. Sing la 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 la. La 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 la. Happy holidays. Happy holidays. New Year's is on its way. New Year's is on its way. Meet me under the mistletoe. Meet me under the mistletoe. When the clock strikes 12, then you'll know. Okay, let's do this. Just repeat after me. La 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 la. La 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 la. Sing la 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 la. La 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 la. Happy holidays. Happy holidays. New Year's is on its way. New Year's is on its way. Meet me under the mistletoe. When the clock strikes 12, then you'll know. Happy holidays. Come on, happy holidays. New Year's is on its way. New Year's is on its way. Meet me under the mistletoe.